Well, hello everybody. I hope you didn't hear me a minute ago cursing behind the scenes while we were trying to get it all going, but third time lucky today and we are live with you. This is, of course, the weekly Metaworld News. Today is the 22nd of November of the year 2020. Um, Best forgotten year. And these are our headlines for the week ending, said date, 22nd of November 2020. Right, very good. Now I don't really need to worry about that anymore. And James has actually helpfully put the date on the screen, so
That's
that's
right.
good too.
That's right.
That's good too.
I do what I
I'm actually
can.
monitoring. I'm monitoring our stream today. It's unusual for me to be doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, another form of distraction.
Oh, no doubt.
How I wonder if I can actually be in three rabbit holes at once.
Hey, let's
One
try
on
it.
the Mac, one on Windows, and one on the other
Yeah,
Windows.
yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, and of course I could have a fourth monitor and be playing the game called Down the Rabbit Hole.
Right, right.
Yes, wouldn't that be fun? Right, but no, seriously, we are here to bring you a little bit of news, plus a little bit of humour now and again, or whatever. My name is Mal Burns. That's M-A-L, one word. B-U-R-N-S, another word. But if you want to find me on Twitter, you're going to have to squash me. Yeah, I know. I do give you permission to squash me if you want, because it's the only way you can get to my Twitter feed. Twitter.com/Mal Burns, M-A-L-B-U-R-N-S. All one word. We also have an additional feed for the show, which is twitter.com/MetaWorldNews. Also, all one word. But that's not the most pat destination. It's just a feed for in-world kind of events and arts and stuff like that when it pops up. In-world being various worlds, but you know. Anyway.
Absolutely right.
So I'm Mal Burns, and if you hear another voice coming in now and again, well, he's an eager beaver today. He really is. It's my colleague James Atlow. Welcome, James.
Well, hi, Mal. It's always a pleasure to be here. I love the news, and I love doing the streaming even when it's not working.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And now, before we go any further, I love the steampunk wheels.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I dream for a living.
Yeah, yeah, and
That's
it's
your statement.
that is my statement. It's actually a Steven Spielberg statement according to this T-shirt, and
Ah,
I couldn't find any animated T-shirts today, so I have
I
a
wondered about that.
yeah. But this oh, I was just going to say this shirt comes from a store. It's named Todd's World. So Todd's World store made this "I Dream for a Living" signed by Steven Spielberg, and I thought that works. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's
It's
nice.
nice. It
Yep.
makes a change.
Yep.
It makes a change. It's a James Out Loud in a lesser Out Loud t-shirt.
That's right. Yep.
Well, so you normally go loud but loud. You've seen
Right,
it.
right.
Anyway, I'm back. Okay, rabbit hole pending. Never mind. Let's get back.
Yep.
Now, the other thing also James is doing, as well as commenting now and again, is he's twiddling knobs, which means that he's playing around with the video feeds. He's got two in cameras, and he's got a feed coming from my laptop, so he sort of switches between them. Give you a slightly more professional show where we don't just stand there by like talking heads all the while. And the screen share, by and large, is that Twitter stream I just mentioned. But I'll remind you when we get to it. I got a few other things to
Mm-hmm.
show you first, as it were. Right. I did the date. I did. Yep. My lips are moving. That helps too. Yeah. I think we're ready to
I think
go,
we're
aren't we?
good. I think it's all
So
in
at the
place.
moment we have on screen a picture that just shows you once and for all, just in case you're in any doubt that the United Kingdom is the centre of the universe. It's that little island off Europe at the top, but it's not as little as the islands off Europe at the bottom, basically. So go figure, go figure. Anyway, yes, we're in lockdown at the moment, and we're bare weeks away from the date when apparently we're going to separate from that European thing once and for all.
Oh
But we still
my,
haven't
wow.
figured out how to do it. We still haven't apparently figured out how to do it. We've been trying to figure it out for 3 or 4 years, so with only 3 or 4 weeks left, I think we're in a bit of a pickle. But we'll find out when the time comes. Anyway, yeah, that really is just for the sake of it. I've just got some pictures. I've got loaded some of the more humorous stuff. This wasn't as humorous at all. This was just a building the metaverse map, as it were. I forget who actually put this up, but it was just a sort of plan,
Mm-hmm.
so the me, the friends, frictionless, around the world, millions of experiences, immersive economy, it's in safety. I really think it probably needs the person who came up with that image to actually be online talking us through what exactly it means. But I thought it was rather pretty, and it does include various crucial things about the
Yeah, yeah,
metaverse.
I would agree.
Less crucial is this chap. Um, this is a real photo. The little copy line I put up there is me. Um, it's just a really unfortunate photograph in some ways because it looks as if something could be going on that certainly wasn't. Although you never know. But actually, more appropriately, here's one for the comic fans, right?
uh,
We this has been discovered. This is a really old premonition, really. Comic book here.
really?
It's an early
It's old.
edition of
Okay.
it's an early edition of the Incredible Hulk, only 20 cents
Wow.
on the 20th of November. I don't know what year this would have been. You can tell it's all a bit faded and everything, can't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, it's yeah, it doesn't give the issue number, it just gives the date and the price. But anyway, sort of yeah, very typical of the Drivel Comics group, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the Incredible Hulk is sulking, and
Yeah, I could see
we thought
Crumb
you,
Crumb drawing that one. That's pretty good.
yeah, I thought you comic collectors might appreciate a little vintage picture.
Yeah.
But I would ask you very quickly because I don't want to keep the picture open. What is wrong with that picture?
How do I begin to tell what's wrong with that picture?
It's to do with an object, not the person.
iPhone?
Yeah. Somehow there's an iPhone gone back in time to whenever this comic was. It's ripped and torn and it's really glossy and everything, but it's got
Yeah,
an
yeah.
iPhone featured on the cover.
Yep.
I think there's a bit of time warpery going on. Anyway, closer to home.
Conspiracy
This,
theories. Yep.
yeah, this is a cartoon, right? I'm sure everybody in Britain, right, has probably heard. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised it's still going, but I remember from my childhood a comic called The Beano, and it had Dennis the Menace, and in fact, I think the red-shirted black figure on the left there might be him. Um, and apparently it's sort of still going. It's very cartoony and whatever. But what they've done this week is if you buy the kids comic, there's a special extra comic inside, which is a reworking of the classic, Beano comic book for adults. This is just one clip. If you look at the character in the car, you've obviously got Boris with the hair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure who the other one is meant to be, but his former top aide, who naughty chap who's now been kicked out basically, is the one leaning out the window talking to the cop. And I'm sorry, sir, but I'm going to have to give you a ticket for driving without glasses because obviously his aide here is being the driver. And then he says, I've got contacts, as in contact lenses. The
Mm-hmm.
cop says, I don't care who you know, you're still getting a ticket. And then he says, this isn't the first car crash you've been involved in this year. I remember your press conference from the Downing Street Rose Garden. Anyway, there's a
Anyway,
little bit of humour there. We've got to start us off rather lightly. Unfortunately, the one I really was determined to show you this week only came in a few hours ago, and basically this is it. Tony VT, Scar Ghost, who we'll be mentioning very shortly, scarghost.com, um, tweeted that this is quite genuinely the Oculus Twitter account is apparently asking people to share their headsets with their peers. And Scargo says, during a pandemic.
Yeah. Right.
And just to prove the point, I got another clip here which actually shows the whole thing. Brought to you by the same caring individuals who don't support multiple users' accounts on a single HMD and have zero antivirus protection apps in their app store. We are witnessing tone deaf stupidity of virtually epic fail proportion by the book in times of pandemic. Anyway, yeah, and the Oculus tweet says, know someone who hasn't tried Oculus yet? Perfect.
Right. Right.
Lend them yours. Video them losing their minds and tag it Oculus. We may feature them in our first time in Oculus campaign. Yeah, lend them yours, though.
Yep.
I mean, of all, there's no brains in that company at all. But typically, my friends on Twitter, of course, have actually picked up on it, and it's another day and it's another goof from our friends at the Fast Book. Anyway, I'm going to put the picture things away. Yes, I do want to quit because it helps the memory. Um, I didn't know you could do that. Right. Okay. Sorry. So I can now switch over to the browser I'm using here, which is Safari. Right. And we now have all the stuff up. Right. Now, I mentioned that we have two feeds here. The first couple I'm going to be showing you here are from twitter.com/Metaworld News.
Oh.
Um,
Okay. Oh, you
as
surprised me.
Yeah, instead of the Malbones one. It's
Okay.
just the way I've loaded them. This first one, yeah, it's on screen.
Yep.
Um, OpenSIM hypergrid visits and active user numbers increase. Now, this is David Karuki at hypergridbusiness.com, hypergridbusiness.com. And this really, Maria, of course, put out a week or two ago her questionnaire for this year. It's a not very well disguised attempt to get lots of information off you in time for her roundup at the OSCC conference in a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
Oh, coincidence on the timing here, of course. But anyway, David Karuki has actually reported on some of the data she's got already. And it's gained over 2,600 active users. This is the hypergrid overall since last month. And it's hit the highest point in over a year.
Hmm.
Total number of active users went up by 1,096. However, due to the effect that TAG, a non-hypergrid world, did not release its active numbers, um, the active total for the month is 35,529, the highest it's seen since June. The land area also increased by more than 1,800 standard region equivalents. Now, obviously, you can go to Hypergrid Business to get all this bump. There's a
Yeah.
graph, no doubt contributed by Maria. And OS at the grid has got the largest land area, followed by Kitely, then Zeta World, Serenity, and then Tangle Grid. Um, Stats do not include things like the Metaworld grid, which is offline anyway at the moment because it's part of Outworld Stream Grid. It's a special distribution of OpenSIM for people to run on their own computers or private grids. And there are apparently 5,054 of these Outworld Stream grids online during the recent period, and 227 unique online dream grids as of now, each with different numbers of regions. Anyway, the Hyperica robot has been crawling.
Hmm.
6,300 grids of any type since January 1st of this year, and they're tracked in various databases, and it goes on about all that. So the most popular grids, OS Grid, followed by Duty Worlds, then Metropolis, then Kitely, and then I don't know how this ever gets to be places like number 5, Avi Worlds. This is what we used to know as the Yo-Yo Grid. I mean, the past month alone, I think it's been up and down 3 times and rebooted. But somehow, unless I've found a very clever way of fiddling things, it seems they've got 1,313 active users, despite, only having just come up again. So I don't know. But anyway, the whole list is there. You get the top 25. And yeah, and then a look at the Kitely market, Littlefield. That David's posts at Hypergrid Business tend to have a lot more than the title on them. In other words, this is almost like a newspaper. Instead, it's not a single blog post. It looks like one, but when you scroll down, you realise they've got a whole load of stuff about OpenSim. OpenSim, by the way, is was the principal focus of Metaworld News when it began, simply because um, it's always been a kind of open source alternative to Second Life. Uses the same viewer and stuff, and has an awful lot of commonalities, even though behind the scenes the back end is very, very different. For front end users, it feels much like the same thing, with a few plus points and a few drawbacks too. Nothing's perfect. And obviously, the dominance of Open Simulator and Hypergrid has declined a little bit in the presence of some major players who sort of really just popped up when with the pandemic, and probably have very good PR machines and tend to be more in the OpenSim was never really in the public eye, but even Second Life has been eclipsed by kind of Roblox and Animal Crossings and God knows what else actually. But that's a conversation for another time. Anyway, go to Hypergrid Business or one word.com, and you can get all that info you're seeing on screen at the moment. And also at Hypergrid Business, a separate actual post here. Um, Let me see. Oh, come on. Move your ass, Hypergrid Business. There we are. Right, this one, this is a post written near it, with more or less the same time, but this one's not David, it's Maria's own post. And she's actually commenting on 240 responses for the 11th annual OpenSim Grid Survey. Terra Nova received all perfect scores. Utopia Sky, Craft World, Kite and Tangle Grid came in close behind. So these are all reports from the community. You might wonder why the number one OS Grid doesn't seem to be mentioned here, but OS Grid has a reputation and a legacy really as being a kind of developer grid. It's not actually a grid only for developers, but it tends to be the grid where developers are, and they're forever tweaking it, and it doesn't always obey the rules. And it's one of those grids that can't necessarily win on a user survey because people like communities and things that they often have on other grids, whereas OS grid is well, it's an archaic mess, really. They do also have regions that are self-hosted by people, and they're online and offline. It's it's like the anarchic end of the metaverse, where you just don't go in and try and get stats. Too much going on that is not recordable. Right, okay, so that's another post to hypergridbusiness.com we've got there. Moving on, I had a post again. This is at twitter.com slash Metaworld News. This is simply a post about Wave. They've got a Discord channel too. They've had for a while, but like Sansar here, where we are playing, they promote themselves as a place where real people become avatars and virtual concerts basically. And this post you'll find at wavexr.com, WAVEXR.com. And as you can see, this actually features a whole load of the stuff they're doing. A band called The Weekend, John Legend. I'm too old to know who half of these people are, actually, but there's a whole
Oh
host of
no,
live
not that.
concerts going on here. I don't know when we're going to get some of my kind of stuff be
Oh
performed.
wow.
Oh,
I
we
don't
we
know.
want our Pink Floyds and ELOs
Right,
and
right,
people who bring virtuality to the real world anyway. They must
right,
be able to
right.
do it better in real virtual. But never mind, they're all like me. They're a bit
Other
old and
dreamers.
tired, I think.
Right, right.
Yeah, they're just too old and tired, really. Okay, we had a YouTube video here, which I think is in yes, it's in Sansar's account. It's called "The Key to Sansar is the Social Part of It," and let me see here. This is only 1 minute 13, so I'm actually going to play it for you. I'm just going to make sure I've got my volume up here so that you'll be getting it via my mic. So it won't be perfect, but hopefully it'll be loud enough.
When I put my headset on, I feel like I'm on another dimension. My name is Mishi, also known as Blueberry. I'm a self-taught 3D modeler, and in Sansar, I'm trying out something new because what I can do here is not even possible anywhere else. My first scene is very personal. I was born in Greece, but I go back and forth between Greece and Turkey. The bridge symbolizes how these cultures are interconnected, and the angels protect all of us. Regardless of where we come from, they're a symbol of peace. I love VR, but the key to Soundstar is the social part of it. I can meet my friends from all over the world, and even if they don't have a headset, I can still share my creations with them. In the future with Soundstar, anybody, and I mean anybody, will be able to create their own experiences, just like I did. And I feel like this is amazing. When I put my headset on,
Whoops. Okay.
Little
Yeah.
cameo by Drax there. It looked like.
Yes, it did look like him. I wonder if he
Mm-hmm.
had some part of filming this.
Yep. Yep.
He's not in Soundside much now, but he used to be. And yeah, no, I was impressed that the lady has a HTC Vive as opposed to an
It was
old
very nice. It was a
thing.
great video. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, nice
Mm-hmm.
video. Oddly enough, there's another artist called Rosie VR, I think, and I think she may be British, although until recently I assumed she was American. But the British Library had a broadcast last night of her doing a painting in VR, and however they rigged the cameras was perfect, because it had the VR inside VR view, but it also had been green screen mixed with her real life
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
avatar while she was moving in VR. So you were actually seeing her, and she was talking to the audience while she was painting. But she was painting, and you could see her palettes in the VR environment, and of course the work she was doing. And there's sort of vague curiosities. Like it started off with a bit of decorating in an apartment, and then she went up to a painting on the wall, and she immediately moved her arms and went into the painting. And the painting was yet another
Mm.
environment where she was started painting the foliage and stuff like that. And yeah, it was great to actually watch. So it's quite interesting some of the skills people were actually creating in the 3D environments as opposed to for it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
are getting up to. Yes, so as you said, that was another nice video there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and finally, again from Metaworld News' feed, again talking about Sansar. This is Room. You remember
Oh,
Room,
room. Yep.
don't you? Yes. V-R-R-O-M dot buzz. And oh, it was Sansar's. Was it Sansar's account where that video was? Yeah, I think it was there. Yeah, Legendary Club Boot House kicks off VR events in Sansar. They're starting with an abstract artist who's going to transform space into surreal, colourful Chaos Garden universe, and parties headlined by DJ Paco Osuma, whoever be, and Elbow Residents. Um, anyway, it is good news for dance music lovers all over the world, apparently. New party experience which will transform you from your home into one of Germany's top clubs. Longtime partners Desperados and Elbow are taking their lockdown inspired virtual party series to the legendary Boot House for the launch of the virtual version of their club. Anyway, it's all here in Sansar, and you can read out. Oh, I did tell you, you can go to revving myself up there. Actually, I should be revving myself down because I'm about to go out, aren't I? V double R double O M dot buzz, and we're gone. We're gone. We're gone.
I know the sound
Uh,
effect I need to go with room.
yeah,
Yeah,
going to
it would be
record it.
from the Art of Noise from. Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, some of these videos tend to load by
yeah,
themselves.
that's right. That's right.
Okay, this post is from MRTV dash Mixed Reality TV. Um, He has got a Discord server too, which was sort of quite interesting. I seems to have quite a few people watching him there. This post has had over 16,000 views and nearly 900 likes. But this is 2 hours and 47 minutes and 26 seconds, and the camera does not move once. There are no clips, there are
Hello,
no nothing.
whatever the industry or these big players tell me what I should say about the hardware, right? But I don't do it because that's not me. That's not what I like to do. I like to do unbiased reviews, right? And well, that's what I do.
And that's what he will continue doing for 2 hours and 47 minutes, should you want to go and listen. Oh, yeah, I mean, he's fairly articulate. He's also not too bad looking for on camera, and he's got the kit set up there. But it really is just a talking head giving, VR hardware type reviews. Oh, a helmet here and a helmet there and a bottle of beer here. Yeah, sorry. But you get the idea. I've got a few of these that I picked up over time. I think it's the first time I mentioned it here, so you won't be getting me showing it you every week. But it's something you may want to look at, and if it's your thing, subscribe. Quite a lot of chat too, which is probably people commenting on the things he's promoting there. Right, so moving on. We are back to Sansar here. It's on Sansar's account. Nothing much to play
Everyone,
here.
welcome to the product meetup.
Right, this is Sansal's products product meetup. It's on the Sansar channel, SANSAR. They film it via Restream, which I may be using before long because it actually sends the same stream simultaneously to places like not only YouTube but Vimeo and Twitch and various other places you can get to. So one stream, multiple locations to go out, so to speak. Um, but at YouTube, anyway, it's the Sansar account, and it doesn't really change much. You've got the key guys from Sansar here, and if you select members, users who turn up and ask questions, and they report on what they've been doing in their development behind the scenes during the week. They may even, who knows, this time next week, they may be commenting on somebody moaning about INI files and Windows. Hey,
Oh
well,
yeah.
never mind. So
Yep.
yeah, that was meant for you, James. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, they give updates and things. I've only ever been to one. The reason being that it's very USA centric, and I think it's a sort of well into the evening time, USA time, before they do this, which is way into nap time for me. It's after bedtime, but occasionally, occasionally I get to these things. But anyway, there's a video recording every week, and that's 45 minutes or so. It's just short of the hour they would be putting aside for the actual event every week. Right, moving on. We're on the YouTube section here, getting them out of the way. These aren't on any of my Twitter feeds, by the way. They should be on Discord somewhere, but yeah. Here we are. This is GDC, which is the Games Developers Conference, and this particular post has just come up. This machine has no brain. Can it borrow yours? Now, there's a few rather rude remarks about the youngish presenter
My name
here.
is Omar. I'm from NVIDIA.
He does go on a bit
I'm
for,
here to talk about something that I've been working on for the past 3.5 years. Title of my talk is "This Machine Has No Brain. Can it borrow yours?"
right. There was some comments about how the guy goes on and on and on for 45 minutes, but he knows what he's talking about. Basically, he works for Nvidia. And he's discussing lessons learned from 3 years developing human robot collaboration, which they do within virtual reality. So it's basically Games Developer Conference, NVIDIA talking about human robot collaborations using virtual reality as part of that equation. I like the first comment. What a time to be alive, somebody says 4 days ago. mid boss, whoever. Yep. So fair old comment here, and this has actually had quite a few. What 2,500 odd views. Um, so obviously some people were quite happy to stick with the guy for 45 minutes. Um, he's a developer. You can't expect him to be the most articulate presenter in the world, So it's quite interesting. Um, if you're into that kind of detail. Okay, moving on. This week in XR. Right. Pardon me. Yeah, this week in XR podcast. That is the name of the feed at YouTube. Um, it's Forbes, Tech Commons, Charlie Fink, and various hosts. I actually seem to have ended up with. Maybe not. I thought I ended up with two this week. Maybe not, maybe not. I think one came early at the tail end of the weekend, and another one sort of came yesterday. Anyway, this is half an hour. Charlie Fink with Ted Shilowitz, and their guest host for this one is Amy, what is it? Hedrick, there she is. She's the CEO of a company called Cleanbox.
They very conspicuously spray it down and wipe it. But this was a much more elegant way,
and there she is, the guest,
to do it. And of course, now Cleanbox can clean anything you wear.
Yeah, that's you're describing our CX1, which is
okay. That's cleaning anything you wear. Maybe it's a washing machine with a VR interface or something. I know it's a bit weird. Okay, anyway, they're always interesting talks, and I haven't fully listened to that one because I know I've listened to the one before it, which was earlier this same week. So that's dated 13th of November. So something's fishy going on here. I'm going to move on. As I say, this week in XR podcast at YouTube. Now, this one's very interesting. Bits of it are still going on. The 28th Rain Dance Film Festival. This is an immersive selection, basically. So it's a little teaser. It's only a minute long. So keep your eyes peeled. There we are. That's where I go.
Okay.
Sorry. Couldn't resist.
I can see, yep.
Actually, I've never been down that one. But so there we go. Oops. Right, you can find out more at www.raindance.org. But I thought that's quite nice. There's definitely quite a few interesting looking environments, installations, call them what you will, featured in there that look very tempting, colourful, fantastic, intriguing. A couple that look rather boring, but I can always pass on that. Each to their own, really.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, there's only one comment here. Somebody's saying, this is cool, but where are all the real live films? Cheeky sod. Right. Okay, now there was also a webinar came up, which is on the future of virtual reality.
Raise the question. VR currently where smartphones were before the iPhone. And I think it was a nice way to put it.
Right. Actually, I just realised I think we may have featured this one before, and it's also dated 23rd of October here, though it was not on the feed. It's only a couple of days ago. I found this altogether a bit boring. It's a site called VR Together. That's a YouTube account. I've never really come across them before, and basically this chap talks to another chap, and they happily go on. What can I say? Um, it's probably no worse than what we do here, except we toss ourselves up a bit, don't we, James?
A little
We
bit.
share screens and we have avatars, and
We do. We do
we
have avatars. All right.
yeah, we tart it up.
Yep.
These
Yep.
guys don't look like, well, they don't even have that enthusiastic vibe. There's a lot of not podcasts and videocasts that I'm not particularly keen on, but you can't fault the guys for being enthusiastic and trying.
Mm-hmm.
These two don't really even seem to have they're just altogether a bit serious and not brainy. I don't know, but if you're interested, VR together. I'm not going to knock anything. I'm an evangelist for the metaverse, so the more people talking about it, the better. Okay. So that was the roundup of the YouTubey things, wasn't it?
Okay.
Oh, I see what happened here. Okay, so yeah, there was another edition of This Week in XR2. And once again, this is the week in XR podcast, and this was quite interesting. The guest here is Joanna Popper, who of course is the main immersive global head of the VR go-to market for Hewlett Packard. And I was
Mm.
actually
Mm.
sorry, on a Zoom call with her
And the
a few
thing that
weeks ago.
got my attention
Oh dear,
is Roblox going. This is a game metaverse that
I don't know whether my connection's suddenly gone slow.
I still hear your
There she,
audio, so yeah.
yeah,
except for I think
no, the stream.
How it's, that merge, the
There
merge
she
between
is.
the creation and consumption as a form of entertainment.
yeah. So do you agree that Roblox is the big story of the week?
Well, we think it's the G2, but there's
Of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
short.
Promoting their own product. Right, this is a very interesting podcast. The chap there is Charlie Fink, of course, who writes the weekly roundup for Forbes, but um, he co-hosts that with the other chap there, futurist Ted Shilowitz. And each program has got a different person on it. That's one with Joanna Popper is actually the most recent. In other words, that was literally 20th of November, a couple of days ago, whereas the one I showed you earlier was from the beginning of the week, or it may even have gone up last weekend, but was too late to get on the show then. Okay, this one I'm going to play for you because it's very short. I think it is. Yeah.
Voxel Farm is a powerful and unique spatial storage and processing platform for exploration activities and mining operations. It can dynamically store, process, and visualize millions of cubic kilometers of spatial information, while still maintaining detail at centimeter and even millimeter precision.
Mm.
Voxel Farm centralizes spatial data storage, providing a single source of truth for versioned multi-dimensional spatial data. This allows team members to collaborate and innovate in ways previously unavailable to the mining industry. Voxel Farm supports diverse spatial entities such as point clouds, surfaces, meshes, and solids, among others, while supporting data types widely used in the mining industry such as regular and sub-block block models, drill hole databases, and historic terrain models. Voxel Farm indexes these diverse data types together, allowing teams to create data mashups on demand. By using novel voxel technology, this provides a volumetric understanding of spatial data. Voxels are the key to unlocking massive parallel processing, which is a distinct advantage Voxel Farm offers over traditional spatial processing. This is similar to how Google searches work. When you search Google, your query is processed by thousands of computer nodes or threads. Each node just looks at a portion of the problem in parallel. That explains why you see results so quickly. All nodes work at the same time. Voxel Farm does the same, but across space and indeed time. Imagine a team member needs to produce a complex visualization or report. If computed in a serial fashion, this could take minutes or hours to complete. Voxel Farm, on the other hand, breaks the problem into hundreds of thousands of small jobs, producing results in a fraction of that time. This is only possible thanks to the use of voxels. During a keynote in 2018, Intel's CEO introduced voxels to the world as one of the key emerging technologies along with artificial intelligence. Not that voxels are a new concept, it is the methods of storage and processing that has been revolutionized. This cutting-edge innovation is voxel farm.
Well, just to let everybody know, we don't actually run adverts here.
Yeah.
You might be fooled, but I actually find that is very interesting. There was, I think, in the early days of Philip Roosevelt's High Fidelity, I know there was they were exploring, in the back end there, instead of pixels, they did have voxels running, and but even before that, there was something that was advertised a couple of years ago now that had this amazing kind of promo video, but that didn't really get heard of again. It's certainly very powerful stuff, and you've only got to look at that kind of thing and think, oh, well, you could, if using just data, you could almost map a whole virtual world in a day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And obviously there was that was speed orientated, but for data. But they did mention, it could be used, for example, in archaeology to recreate environments, which is something I've always loved about virtual worlds. Being able to go to a historic site and see it rebuilt, as accurately as they can, so you can walk around it and things. And if it's based on real archaeology material, like that is obviously for the mining industry particularly. But it's another tool in that box of sort of real high quality graphics and interpolation basically, for the future. So yeah, it might have seemed a bit business-like and boring to some, but if you had a grip on what it was talking about there, I think that's just very exciting indeed.
Yeah.
Um,
I've
you,
taken
you,
up a game called No Man's Sky, and that's
oh yes,
built
I've got that.
using voxels. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't look like the simple ones there. Yeah, they got. I downloaded that too on Steam. I think it was. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know whether I paid for it or whether I took advantage of some freebie, but
Yep.
um, yeah, I did kind of lose interest a bit. But that wasn't to do with the visual quality. It was more with the, well, I suppose you have to call gameplay.
Right. Right.
Enthusiastic about virtual worlds. I am. I'm not a gamer
Right. Yep.
by a long shot. I mean. I would not buy an O machine just to get it missed in VR, especially as I've actually played the thing anyway in multiple formats. Um,
Oh, don't say that. I was excited you're gonna jump in.
well, I think I'm thinking of the HTC Vive.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep.
Uh, yeah, which doesn't, from what I gather, stand much chance of becoming a. It might be a proprietary headset, but it is not going to start interfering with your ability to do what you use it for and everything else. Um, which I won't comment further on. You're going to be hearing a lot of us angry people commenting on that soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No
Right.
doubt.
So
Right.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We're spending a lot of time on YouTube today before we've even started. That one, by the way, the person who posted that is Miguel Cepero, Miguel space Cepero, and that's a YouTube user, of course. So you need to go to YouTube and look that up. Right, moving on. It's the last of the YouTubes for now.
reality, and let's
Um,
another reality on another side, and that those two realities are
you know,
impassable.
oops, there we are. This is Kent Bai. You obviously know him for the interviews he does at Voices of VR. um, Pardon me. On this occasion, he was interviewed himself for the Between Realities VR podcast, which we featured a few times recently. Their account. Why am I croaking? I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know why I am, aren't I?
You're
Um,
emotional. You're
yeah.
worked up about Mist.
I'm all emotional. Yeah. Anyway, between realities, two words there. So that's the YouTube account, and you'll recognise it. So that's Ken By, their guest there. But if I switch back to the very beginning um, and move forward, you
So
will
Kent, I'm excited to give away
you'll
a first.
recognise
Like,
it from
oh, this is
previous
super awesome.
episodes.
Can't
Yep.
yell that loud, all right?
And when Ken comes
People
in, he
can't even
comes
handle
drops in
that
on the
level
screen
of
behind
excitement.
him. I like the setup of this
Mm-hmm.
actually.
My name is
Mm-hmm.
Alex, by the way. I think I forgot to.
Okay. So go ahead and
There we
VR,
are.
man. Like first and foremost,
Here
getting
we
people
go.
into VR is the main thing for everything that we do.
Straight
So,
up.
because I want full multiplayer lobbies. No, but for real,
Amen.
VR is
Amen.
amazing. So,
All right, listen. We have a super important person here with us, and we
Yes,
are
we
not
do.
wasting any time. You guys already know who we have. Please welcome to the Between Reality spaceship, the legendary Kent By.
Da, 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 da. I love the way that screen comes down.
Hello. I was talking on my camera. Hey, it's great to be here, Alex and Skiba. Thanks for having me back.
absolutely, we are thrilled to have you, buddy.
We are so stoked to have you here.
I'm working on getting Kent as one of my panelists at OSCC as well, so that
Mm-hmm.
may be happening. Right. I think we're back.
If I
Yes,
would
we're back
simply,
to that bloke,
yeah,
aren't we?
follow
Right.
whatever.
Right. I can now skip ahead to the normal mainstay of this program, and that is the twitter.com/Malburns feed, the general, I was going to say liquorous all sorts, but data all sorts stream. Liquorous all sorts, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm not on the ball today with my witticisms at all, am I? We're starting where we normally start, of course, which is actually 2 weeks ago because it's published every Monday. It's the week in XR. Um, roundup from Scarred Ghost, which is SKARREDGHOST.com. And I've really got to stop dithering on my pages and just give them a minute or so each so that we don't run out of time and also bore the shit out of you lot. But this is always a good roundup of what's been happening in the previous week. It comes out on Mondays, so obviously this link is covering the week before last Monday, and likewise there'll be another edition tomorrow. But he covers a lot of hardware and other stuff that I don't really go into it. They're talking about the Reverb One, a partnership with Valve, um, and Windows 10 update improves the visual. God, Windows 10 update improves something. That doesn't sound right. Uh, uh,
Not in
yeah, I
our
think there's a
experience.
I think there's a I think there's a I think there's a typo in this line here. See, that really, does not compute, does it?
No. No, I don't. I don't know.
Anyway, right. More news, obviously about the O machine, and more about the O machine. PlayStation VR 2 may have been delayed. It's forecasted to sell 8 million units before March next year, and will be probably the fastest selling console in history. But there's no sign of the headset yet in sight,
Right.
etc.,
Right.
which he points out there. Nreal, which is one of they do glasses, which I must say I've found rather attractive, is performing very well over in Japan, and they are launching a consumer version throughout Asia in a strong partnership with LG. No sign of it getting to the West, I guess. They may be going to China as well. So China, Japan, and anywhere but
Hmm.
I don't know, the Trump sphere of influence, maybe. I don't know. Right, Neos VR, you can exchange files through the virtual reality platform. I think Neos VR is headset only. I can't be quite sure. I do follow them a bit because they do have a Discord server. Um, More bundles. Oppo teasing. I think I've got them elsewhere. Oppo some new AR glasses. They're a Chinese smartphone manufacturer. Um, VR Awards winners revealed. I mentioned this last week, and I'll be coming to that too. This is quite interesting. Ready Player One was very well, it wasn't Snow Crash influential. It's quite a recent book, but of course, Steven Spielberg made a movie of it, so it became big by default, didn't it? Really. The author Ernest Cline has actually now published one called Ready Player Two, which is just about to end up in the bookstores. Um, but he's done an interview where he says he's taking a small break, but then he's going to complete the trilogy. But he's going to start off with a prequel to Ready Player One. Um, of course, they're asking whether it would be called Ready Player Zero, but well, obvious question, really, isn't it? Apparently, he's going to be in world in I think it's Alt Space VR or it may be VR Chat. Actually, talking to people and not only about the prequel book he's working on, but just about generally about his novels. Anyway, that may come up later somewhere if I've got it right. Yeah, Google releasing a data set. Cornell University got their flexible gloves. Half-Life, Alex, as a developer. I said I promised I wasn't going to stay here, didn't I? So, anyway, if you want all the week news from the week before the week just gone, in depth, I hasten to add, just go to scarredghost.com for that one. Right, moving on. We're on vrfocus.com, vrfocus.com, and they're looking at the Valve Index and Half-Life Alyx and Qualcomm. They're the winners at the 2020 VR Awards. Now, I announced this last week along with a similar screen to this. But if I remember while I was talking, we got in a bit of a pickle. James here connected me because I was talking about the wrong HTC and the wrong manufacturer of some headset. I was getting a bit confused and not being a headset wearer, I wasn't quite sure. Anyway, this post, which is at vrfocus.com, has a roundup of actually all the awards and what actually went on, far more extensively than I covered last week. And these were the winners. The lifetime achievement was Cher Wang, who's the founder of HTC. She was really interesting at the end. Let me see. Out of home VR entertainment. It's unfortunate because this one, The Void, has now gone under this week, which we'll mention a little bit later.
Okay.
But out of home VR, it's not the ideal time for that, is it? At one point, it was looked like the VR side of VR that was going to be the big thing, but then along came a virus and all the soldiers fell down,
Indeed.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. The hardware of the year was the Valve Index, and the game of the year was Half-Life Alyx, which of course is a product of Valve. But I don't think there's any direct connection between Valve and HTC, which for some reason was confusing me last week.
Okay.
Anyway, all the awards are there. If you want more about that, just go to vrfocus.com and you can get that lot. Right. This is a slightly different side with new one on me. It's Menafn. It's letters really. Menafn. M-E-A. Sorry, Menafn. Menafn.com. I have no idea what it means, but I believe it's something to do with architecture. The A is probably some society or other. Anyway, it's just a simple post. VR architecture reveals stunning details, but can't always capture the ambience. So they're admiring what VR is doing in terms of rendering detail and environments and stuff, but they are saying that you are usually aware still that you're in a specifically built environment without any of the ambience you would have in a real place. It's always been a sort of question, really. I mean, how do you create ambience other than by having a load of people in an environment? You could argue that somewhere like Second Life has got a load of very primitive looking graphical venues, has a lot of people in it chatting away, even in text and stuff, and therefore has the ambience. Although, to be honest, it's not the same as real life ambience because you have to plug into text controls or voice controls and adjust volumes and move distances and things to do things that would be just so instinctive in real life. Whereas it becomes a bit of a contrived operation to do it in virtual worlds half the time. And when you're conscious of working at navigating and working at enjoying something, even if it doesn't feel like too much work, it is taking away from what I would call ambience, because ambience is a very natural thing, which is, how should we say, very unencumbered. So anything that encumbers you is taking away from the ambience. That's my theory, anyway. So anyway, this post goes into all that. They've got they got a video there on the making of the virtual Boyd House architectural thing. Um, we're used to consuming architecture both near to home and far away with ease, but this year our travel wings were severed and heritage sites found themselves scrambling to hasten their digital aspirations. Marshall Proust famously imagined one day travel might be possible without needing to voyage to strange lands, but through possessing other eyes. In 2020, this has become true. Virtual reality has allowed audiences to stay put, but engaged in architecture and historic buildings.
Hmm.
From the comfort of our own home, we can participate, etc., etc., etc. So they're looking at various virtual architecture tours and stuff. And if you're into architecture, a good little read. Good little read to be had there. As I say, you can find the link on my twitter.com/malburns, but it's fairly easy to scribble down now. It's menafn.com. No way can I pronounce that, but it's just 6 letters, isn't it? Okay, moving on. A VR study. We're back at Room here. Room have been doing some studying. Yes, indeed they have. Right. A VR study shows up close threats cause primitive fear. Um, okay, this, you might say, well, if you're wandering around in a jungle and a giant sized ape suddenly, King Kong suddenly pops out at you, then you might be a bit afraid, mightn't you? If he's bigger than you and he's looking hungry. Oh, a lion. Yeah, that's not very good news, is it? Um, But in your virtual reality, of course, you think, hey, funny little cartoon lion, you're not going to eat me, really. Ha ha. But of course, as increasing realism comes along, and now, now you can put people in a virtual safari park where the damned is a real sized lion and he is about to eat you.
Hmm.
And only when he comes to stick his teeth in do you realise, hey, it's not hurting. But um, people who just look at the psychology of these things and stuff, they use virtual reality, quite frankly, to create up close threats, that cause primitive fear, brings out the primate in us, where, and yeah, it's like so much, almost everything in the whole world has a VR application, to be honest. Um, looking at architecture and looking at building CAD type building schematics and things like that, and robots are replacing half the labourers who used to lay the bricks on site. Not everything can move to wholly digital, but it seems to me that in almost every endeavour there seems to be a component somewhere in the mix which does easily translate to digital and quite frequently virtual reality, be it in health, be it in engineering, be it in chemical researches, or just for entertainment, trotting around experiences. So, um, well, yeah, you can read this. So the other thing I would point about this is clinically, people who develop PTSD are more likely to have experienced threats that invaded their personal space, assaults or rapes or witnessing a crime at close distance. They're the people that tend to develop long-lasting threat memory. And I was reading somewhere else, not this article, a bit of controversy over this because they thought, people suffering from things like PTSD, some people say they benefit from a calmer environment without any threats. Like a meditative relax, and sort of take away the angst. Other people are saying, no, no, the way to treat them is to give them worse threats than they've ever experienced in the virtual world. So they go through it and come to terms with it. And I don't know. I mean, I'm very sensitive to noise, you know, and I jump when I hear a noise entering my environment that I'm not expecting. Many people would, like a door slamming or something like that. Um, you get used to it, but it doesn't actually stop that sort of thing. Now, I don't know, I say to myself, well, if I went into a virtual world where, for say 6 hours and the whole thing was full of people slamming doors, would I feel comfortable? Like hell, I wouldn't. I'd be even worse. I actually go into the virtual world to escape outside noises. My headphones, my audio headphones, are far more, or plugs. That's all far more important to me in terms of the ambience than replicating, the scary things. But I mean, you have to wonder if it was a clinical thing and people were actually, trying to cure me of my noise sensitivity. You know, I hate to think of it. Some therapist would come along and say, "Oh, I've got right, just the thing for you. We're going to put you in a room of slamming doors for 6 hours." Ah! Anyway, not going on about it. I have a habit of commenting on everything here. You'll find this post of vroom.
Vroom.
Yes, VRROO dot M buzz. Sorry, VRROOM dot buzz, and buzz is BUZZ, or as Americans say, BUZZ. Don't make it easy for me, will you? Right, vroom, buzz.
I didn't decide. I
You
wasn't
didn't?
responsible for that decision about how to say Z.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah. I always, it's always been said to me, but at some point in time, I discovered that, yeah, you guys prefer
I
Z.
know, I know.
Yeah. I think the first time I recognised there was something wrong was when a band came along called ZZ Top.
Oh, right.
At first we called them ZZ Top
Yeah,
and
what
wondered
is
what
that?
that was. What's a ZZ Top? And then we heard
That's
them
good.
introduced in America as ZZ Top and thought, oh, that's what the game is it? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I showed you a trailer earlier on. Some excellent stuff at Rain Dance. This is a post at vrscout.com, vrscout.com. Basically, immersive judges for a new category. Basically, the Rain Dance Festival now has a completely new category, which is Best Immersive World. So they are talking about virtual worlds, like social worlds. They're not talking about games here. So then they have a new category for the best immersive world. And actually, the film festival is London's Rain Dance Immersive Festival in theory. So there's lots of stuff online. It started October 28th and will be finishing November 22nd. Oh, sorry, that's today. Right, it finishes today. So hopefully we'll have more roundups of this later.
Hmm.
This is a video I played you earlier. Um, Okay, to better understand the nuances of existing virtual worlds, they spent months exploring hundreds of virtual locations in VR chat and selected 7 to feature. But, oh yeah, okay. Um, okay, I think maybe they were featured in that short thing, but not extensively. So there's apparently the judges who were actually chosen to select the best immersive world. And after completing the devouring after 5 hours and 86 deaths. Well, that sounds more like a game to me, but never mind. Anyway, they've got various videos here you can play. Shelter in Place, something called Terminus. All these are obviously on YouTube and things too, but it's nice to get them as an embed on the blog there. So that's at vrscout.com. I can actually scroll down my list now a little bit. Right. Okay, Noitom, Noitom, whatever they be. They introduced revolutionary hybrid traffic solution for the motion capture industry. Perception Neuron Studio, right? They showed it off at SIGGRAPH in Los Angeles in July. and they're now releasing it in real time. Creators of all levels can use the Perception Neuron Studio's hybrid tracking with the Unreal Engine to create their own virtual production XR projects. So in effect, it sounds like a sort of plug-in for Unreal. No mention of Unity there. The key point is a first of its kind 4-point hybrid tracker, which allows for camera tracking, positional tracking, and millimeter studio ecosystem that already includes its full body tracking gloves, data processing, true anti-mab mode, and more. Whew! I'm out of breath after that. Right, the system, a base inertial system. Does that mean initial price or inertial price? I don't know, but $6,000 US. Not particularly cheap. And a combination of full body and fingers actually raises the total to about $7,500 US. Anyway, want to know more about that? You need to go to virtualrealityreporter.com. Now that's 3 words squashed into one. So it's virtualrealityreporter. Virtualrealityreporter.com, all squashed together into one word. Okay, moving on. Okay, this is a site called virtualperceptions.com. VIRTU.
The top of the title's getting cut off on my screen. Oh, maybe I need to adjust it. I'll see if I can adjust that. Sorry.
Oh, yep. I'm looking at the screen in World. And
yeah, I see it's different. I'll have to adjust it. No problem.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. I could move it up a little bit too, but then...
no, yeah, I'll change it here.
If you've adjusted, fine.
Yeah,
okay. Right, okay. And this is virtualperceptions.com. virtualperceptions.com. And it's analysis time. Yes, it is. Tom Fisk looking at immersive tech in film festivals. It's a tangential thing to VR here. Well, they mentioned the Raindance Embassy here, for example, which is a virtual environment in VR or on a flat screen, and looking at VR chat and stuff. They're thinking in terms of film festivals here. So this, we don't, we get these articles coming up now that don't actually say, analysis so-and-so VR. They say analysis, techniques in new cinema. Of VR, which actually in their case is basically VR. Whatever. That's Devouring Hub, of course. That's the one that won the award. Yep. Not much to say about this. If you want to read it, you want to read it, don't you? Virtualperceptions.com for that one. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's the way the screens map actually. Right, this is The Guardian, the well-known British newspaper. UARDIN.com, The Guardian. And video gaming can benefit mental health, find Oxford academics. Yes, the boffins are at it again. Research based on playing time data shows gamers reported a greater well-being. Yeah, this was not the environment where they had lots of slamming doors, of course. All right. Pardon me. I don't know whether there is such an environment. Anyway, the study focused on players of Nintendo's springtime craze Animal Crossing. And actually, it does look like that was the only thing they based it on. But they've noticed that world bodies like World Health Organization and the National Health Service are allocating attention and resources to stuff, although there is no literally good data to go on. Actually, that's part of a quote, so it's not really the opinion in the article. Anyway, controversial by the look of it, but anyway, the Oxford academics think it's all good for mental health, and I would tend to agree. I think overall, I'm sure there are instances where it's bad, and I'm not talking about game addiction. I'm talking about not very thoughtfully constructed environments, or even in the case of some products, like, bringing out a headset called an O and then trying to sell more by encouraging people to share it with their friends in a pandemic. Come on, this is irresponsibility. Um, and I'm sure people have come up with actual virtual environments that are equally irresponsible. I mean, I don't know, maybe this new virtual world that's going to take over from everything else, Horizons, I believe it's called. Every time you walk another few feet, there'll be another advert, and it will probably be advertising a sugar, a piece of confectionery with sugar based.
Why not?
Even
Sure.
even though international health is trying to stop us eating such amount of sugar.
Mm.
But
Yeah, but
it's like
is that any
Disney. I
different
mean,
than the grocery? Can you try and find healthy food in a grocery?
well, Whole Foods you can, and yeah, I'm a stickler for reading all the
Hmm.
taking my glasses out and reading all the small print,
Right, right,
and also now I'm ordering online. I'm ordering the same stuff time after time because I know I know the product.
right, right.
Um, no, it's yeah, it's a grocery where you pick stuff off the shelves online and put it in your basket is probably the same thing as going into the real grocery. And yeah, quite, sort of, hopefully you can click on the confectionery bar and find out what the sugar content is.
Hmm.
I mean, if I actually go, I actually buy packets of something called wine gums, which are chewy and taste. They have a high fast-acting glucose, which for diabetes is very good if you get a low
Hmm.
and you need to boost yourself, and I have that problem, of course. Well, not of course, but in case anybody wondered. Um, but oddly enough, when I actually ordered them online, too, I came across of the new government regulations, which don't allow me to buy more than 2 packets at a time
Yeah. Okay.
because it's called the sugar tax. They haven't actually introduced the sugar tax yet, but they've used the first part of it, which is limiting the number of people, especially with children, that can buy how much sugar you can buy
Hmm.
in a visit.
Hmm.
And I'd forgotten about that, but of course glucose is a sugar, and yeah, I tended to order 6 packets in bulk, so I can forget about it, and they're there when I need it, and then they emailed me and said you can only have 2. But in a way, I think that's good. So, anyway, back to wherever I was before the rabbit hole called me in. Yeah,
Yes.
theguardian.com. And yes, yeah, exactly. This is, you know, um, my point in all that was to do with advertising rather than the products on the shelf. If I was actually walking through a world, this is Nintendo and totally different, quite harmless at the moment. Um, but if every couple of inches I moved in a virtual environment, there was some kind of product, sugar-based product, either by way of placement or something they're actually trying to sell me. An unscrupulous corporation could run a virtual world sugar sales alone, I'm sure. Just get all the kids in
Hmm.
and make it an addictive environment, and ram home all the sugar products into their brains so that they go out and buy them with their pocket money or force their parents to. It's not hard in this day and age to see things working that way.
Hmm.
Anyway, I am going to move on. So for the moment, video gaming can benefit mental health. Say people in Oxford, care of the Guardian. Moving on. Collaboration tools, Spatial's latest update has 40 plus seat auditorium and better file support. This is a post at vrfocus.com, vrfocus.com. Basically, this one is available on the O headset. I think it's available in various other things too. And basically, they've rolled out this special auditorium environment, which is custom made. It looks like a sort of Second Life building its
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
Auditoriums have always been popular there, and yeah, it's ready there for people to log in and use. It is headset world here, and it seems to be a nose headset that's being used here. So maybe it will work with HTC Vive and other things too. I am not so sure about that. Um, their tech advancements seem to relate slightly to the home machine. Um, it's available in free and professional versions. Called Spatial. It's been designed for complete cross-platform integration. You can be joined by a colleague in Magic Leap, and another through a browser via webcam. Or obviously you can use a headset as well, and not necessarily the O headset as far as I can tell. Um, oh, I seem to have two. This is a different link with the same topic. Um, this is siliconeangle.com. SILICONANGLE.com. And okay, it's effectively a different take on the same story. So you've got two to choose from there. I'm not going to spend time on the second one. Right. Protocol.com, this is called, right? After loan default and asset transfer, the Void's future looks uncertain. Now, I mentioned that at the beginning. Something had mentioned the Void. The Void was one of the early out-of-home virtual reality experiences. And a lot of people, talking with Maria, who used to be on the show, of course, and I have a good business now, we always concluded that it was going to be the out-of-home VR that would really take off first. Obviously, in the commercial enterprise sector, laboratories and engineers and things were moving into it, but that was enterprise. But apart from gamers, there was no huge take up of home domestic use, except for hardcore gamers. But rather than having these big heavy helmets and the whole rigs in your own home, and social isolation in many ways, if we figured that it would be, like the computer games used to be an arcade experience. People didn't have them at home, and eventually they became so commonplace people were playing them at home. But they started off playing them in arcades, and we figured that the headset, the totally immersed type environmental thing of VR, with hardware and everything else like that, we figured it would be an out of home experience. And certainly they did take off. But this one, the Void, was one of the first. Things are looking grim for the Void. Once hailed as the future of virtuality, the company recently defaulted on a key loan, forcing it to permanently transfer its assets, including patents and trademarks, to its creditor, and according to documents reviewed by Protocol. And as I said, this post is at protocol.com, protocol.com. And yep, you can read a bit more about it there and admire a photograph of people wearing the things. I like the way they've got their helper here. Oh yeah, you want to put on a headset? We'll come and strap you in, and go. It's a bit like those. Bit kinky, really, isn't it? We'll strap you in and we won't let you out. And we'll do all sorts of things to you while you're tied up. Anyway, enough of that. That's at protocol.com. Moving on, actually, we have got. Okay, I'm just going to jump ahead 2 posts, actually. having just told you about bondage. Okay, this is another post of the week. Look at the booming world of wireless sex toys. This is fortunately a post that is not particularly graphic, and so if you really want to just keep, keep up to date on what's available rather than, um, a safe for work read, I think is the word, or whatever. Yeah, basically, the porn companies, the virtual sex game, and a top guide for sex toys, especially ones that work with headsets and all these gadgets that are Bluetooth orientated, so you connect with Bluetooth to your phone connects to your partner half the world away, and their phone connects to their Bluetooth device, and you can see the chain. Yeah, so a whole load of stuff going on there, and yeah, they cover quite a few things which for somebody who would normally avoid some of these posts because of their graphic content, you might find some interesting stuff here. As you can see, it's just a text-based long read. um, so a good post basically about Oh, actually, in this day and age, I don't really know it's even a delicate subject. So,
Mm.
again, this is virtualrealityreporter.com. So 3 words squashed into one. Virtualrealityreporter.com. And I am not going to spell that out letter by letter for a second time today. You either got it or you haven't. Or you can go to twitter.com/malbones and find the direct link that will actually bring you to this article. Okay. We're back to room V double R double O M dot BUZZ. And this is Kathy Hackey at Forbes again, talking about well, it's not a Forbes article, but she is from Forbes, of course, talking about the future of the film festival. And it's again tangential because obviously it includes VR and stuff, but actually they're pointing out things like, where you can't actually go to a cinema anymore, but drive-ins are making a bit of a comeback because presumably if you're in a bubble that's considered safe, like a family car and family members, you could go to a drive-in and watch a movie that way, and you could be on the phone to your neighbours who are in a neighbouring car or something. I don't know, but it is obviously a way. We've never really have been big on drive-ins in Britain. I think there are a few now,
I didn't think so. Yeah.
but they're a very American thing. Almost all 50s Americana sort of movies I've seen, things
Yeah,
sort of
the
drive-ins.
car culture of the United States.
Yeah, the drive-ins and the those trailer kind of cafes. I forget what they're called.
Diners? No.
Diners, that's it. Yeah,
Uh,
all that stuff. I remember a few years ago, or about 20 or 30 years ago, when I went to West End in here, somebody imported an American diner. The actual physical bus type thing, and plonked it in the middle of Covent Garden, and it's very popular because
mhm.
it was a diner. It cost a lot more more for the food and drink than you ever paid in an American diner.
Mhm.
You were paying for the novelty, but yeah. Anyway, I'm in danger of rabbit holing there again. Um, so drive-in theatres making a comeback. Getty. Kathy Hackey, the author here, goes into Venice VR. I think that's a video we looked at before from various places. Um, I'm just going to open that just in case. It says from Room Info.
It looks like
Ah,
VR chat.
yeah, and actually it's Vimeo the video, so that's not
Yep.
going to open automatically for me, I'm afraid. Right, immersive. Oh, here's a Venice Film Festival is like immersive theatre on acid. Well, that's one
Well,
way of putting
there you
it, isn't
go.
it? You can do things you can't do in the physical world. You can fly, be any avatar you like. You can go on quests, and it's really quite extraordinary, says Liz Rosenfeld, one of the curators of Venice VR. And first 2 days of Venice VR Expanded was hosted on VR Chat. 5,000 visits to the various virtual worlds. Anyway, general article, and then it goes into Tribeca too, so it's not all one thing here. So it's the future of film festivals, or the film festival. Read that at VRROOM.BUZZ or ZZ or ZZ Dop. ZZ. No, Vroom.ZZ. No, Vroom.BUZZ. Ah, it's a new language, this, isn't it?
Mhm.
BUZZ.
Mhm. It is.
Forget co-UK, forget com, forget net. We've got BUZZ. Wow. Can I have a BUZZ domain name, please?
Sure.
No, thank you.
We'll serve that up for you.
I bet you will. Right, okay, moving on. Oh, sorry, that's the sex toys again. I forgot I moved backwards, not forwards there, didn't I? Right, Voices of VR. I think we have 2 here this week. Number 960, How Burning Man's 10 Principles Got Translated into VR and Alt Space with Athena Demos. This is Kent By, of course, interviewing Athena Demos, Chief Cultural and Community Office for BlackRock Creative and BlackRock 60 VR. And also flashing back to a lead conversation with lead developer. And anyway, if you're into VR, and Burning Man, like that on the player, then do have a listen to this one. Voicesofvr.com is just that, voicesofvr.com. Mine is tagged with all my voicesofvr.com links have been tagged with not secure by Apple.
Oh.
I don't know why this would be the case. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it as far as I can see. And I've got a plug-in for that shows me people snooping on the sides, and it's not picking up any. So maybe it's unsecure because it hasn't got any snoopers on it instead of the other way around. Okay, back to Vroom, Buzz, Vroom.buzz. If you don't know it by now, just go to twitter.com/malbuzz. The future of well-being could be experiencing VR nature. Yeah, this is all about. Actually, let me just click to the real web page here. Oh, that's right. There was just one picture, but it's well, come on, let me go back to where we can actually read it properly. Right. Researchers at University of Essex asked 96 participants to watch a video of a person describing their job at an office supply company. It was done deliberately in order to induce boredom and potentially sadness. Talk about the misuse of VR, eh? But they were then made to watch or interact with a nature program about a coral reef under one of 3 randomly assigned conditions: 2D video on a high definition screen, 360-degree video VR, or viewed by a head-mounted display in a computer-generated VR. And also could be used with HMD and interacted with a handheld controller. Watching the program under all 3 conditions lowered the negative effects, including boredom and sadness. The only group that actually experienced a boost in mood was the VR group, who also reported feelings of being more connected to nature. So I can quite understand that, but the problem is that when they've taken the headset off or turned away from the screen, they're presumably back in their office supply company, and I imagine they're just going to get bored and sad like they were before. But as a temporary way out, we've got it. Go to vroom.buzz for that one. Right, good old company here. They've been around for years. I think they just sell direct now rather than in shops. Dell, DEL. They've signed a European distribution deal with HTC Vive. The Vive announced the Vive XR suite designed to help businesses adapt to staff working from home. It's a deliberate policy to get home workers using the kit. That's all good if you've got the hardware, but for those that haven't and are looking to invest, HTC Vive and Dell have now partnered up to offer enterprise customers in Europe an easy one-stop solution. Now, they do mention the listings are at Dell's UK website, so it looks like Dell consider Britain still to be Europe, which is a good sign because it means we can get them as well as the rest of Europe. Vive Pro, Vive Pro I, Vive Focus Plus, Vive Cosmos, and Vive Cosmos Elite are all listed. None of the prices on the website includes VAT, which well, it's a different subject entirely. Well, if we leave Europe, we only pay VAT because Europeans forced us to. But I don't reckon the government's going to turn down money by eliminating VAT. Right. Even added to the iPro, it comes in at about 1,100 UK pound. And HTC Vive's own listing is £1,300. So the Dell seem to be offering the Vive cheaper than HTC are offering it themselves, but by a small margin. So that's a good sign. I mean, that is a lot more expensive than buying one of the new budget O models, but it's a very highly rated system. And it's hang on, the bundles. Okay, well, you better read this for yourselves. Obviously, the combination of the different things is affecting how much you would pay here. But as we saw in that lovely video earlier on, the person was wearing the HTC Vive, and it's pretty well acclaimed. And of course, it's they don't provide, as far as I know, they don't provide any software, so no, they're not going to sort of trap you into a software hardware combination. They are simply selling you a headset, an interface device, not a sort of global takeover. Right, so vrfocus.com there. Right, vrfitness.com is a new one. Well, it's not new, but we don't go here very often. Happy body, happy brain. Mental health benefits of virtuality. This seems to be a theme this week. Um, chemicals, well, hang on. Not news to most, but working out has a great lasting impact on mental health. Getting up and moving the body surges with dopamine, adrenaline, endorphins, and endocannabinoid, eh? Right.
Hmm.
These chemicals are what trigger feelings of happiness, joy, relaxation, and act as our natural antidepressants. Virtual reality also has a positive impact on the brain. When the technology was released, there was some worry, doctors and scientists believing that virtual reality might harm our brains. But now they've all concluded that virtual reality is good for the old noggin. That's an interesting turn of phrase. Anyway, VR is used to treat many different disorders such as anxiety, PTSD, and has helped people recover from strokes. Now, we mentioned this was a previous article, not about this, but about on the same subject, should we say. So there's not much else to say here, but if this is your field or a field of interest, then this is well worth reading. You find it at vrfitnessinsider.com. So that's vrfitnessinsider.com. Fitnessinsider.com. Now, we were talking about stores earlier on, and they're appearing anyway. Um, this is um, this is from the business site of Vogue magazine. So it's voguebusiness.com, VOGUEBUSINESS. What to know about virtual stores? No, stores they're referring to here. Um, uh, well, I think this is I will call them shops, basically. I think this is a matter of where you live, where you would call them store, or whether you call it a shop. Amid this year's dramatic shift towards online shopping, virtual stores reflecting new, more accessible interpretation of virtuality have emerged as a novel approach to online shopping. And this time around, headsets are not included, which is rather unexpected. I thought they were going to say headsets are included, but nope, they're not. A range of brands, including Charlotte Tilbury, Clarins, Tommy Hilfiger, Farfetch, Intermix, and American Eagle, are all testing some form of virtual store technology. Many of them tied to the holiday shopping season, which is pretty much here now. Part virtual reality, part embellished website, virtual stores are defined by immersive interactive elements that both entertain customers and let them make a purchase, or I guess in the case of the owners of O, force them to make a purchase, but we won't go there. Right, unlike in-store VR stations from years past, these are accessible via desktop or mobile, and the elements are not static, meaning they can be updated just like a traditional site. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole article out to you. As you can see, there's quite a lot to cover here. They look at various, different companies, shops, as I would call them. VR gets a rebrand, etc., etc. And it's interesting how the e-commerce side of this, it really does difference. For a thing like a clothes shop, may not have a virtual environment to walk around and pick your clothes from, but they may have a catalogue where you can choose the clothes and model it to a virtual avatar, so you can see yourself wearing it without actually having a complex 3D environment. Others may be, have so many items that they actually want to provide you with an entire supermarket where you can go around raiding the shelf, clicking on something on the shelf and then it gets sent to your trolley, a bit like, bog standard shopping on the web is at the moment. Anyway, read more about that at voguebusiness.com. VOGUEBUSINESS.com. God, I'm trying to rush through these. I know I'll get caught out again. Right. Okay, this is at well, it's a Medium hosted site. It's a roundup actually. If you're interested, this is where you'll find it. amylamea.medium.com. So it's AMYLAMEI, sorry, EYER dot and then medium.com. And it's a monthly roundup of news about, well, virtual music news. And as you can see, there's links to various articles in the music press, like Rolling Stone and Google and Musically, and etc., etc. So just a good destination there, really. Right, next up we have Mashable. This is in.mashable.com. Back in the day, I used to spend all my time in Mashable actually for links,
Oh.
but not so much these days. Right. In conversation with XR Central, up and coming AR, VR trends and impact on education, online education, and more. Again, sort of insights and discussion kind of article. And VR in the times of COVID again, etc. So that's in.mashable.com. Right. UCtoday.com, UCTODAY.com, article called The Benefits of Virtuality for Collaboration. Forgive me if we all know this already, but I'm sure many of you, like me, can go through the Twitter feed or something and think, oh, there might be something interesting there. I mean, you can have multiple articles on the same subject with so many different takes, that reading them all gives you a more comprehensive overview in many ways. Right, so that's UCTODAY.com. Back to the other voices of VR for this week. So this is VOICESOFVR.com. And this is about reimagining the VR award show as a VR chat world hopping adventure with AIXR. This is the award show that I featured earlier, and of course it was it was broadcast on YouTube as a semi sort of virtual. Well, they called it a virtual awards, um, um, and it's fine. Um, but this is just it's just a rather fun little interview. The idea that they can actually reimagine them inside VR chat itself. So you sort of do this. It's a bit like a hypergrid safari for the awards destinations. Well, some of them obviously in VR chat. So those are two people that have organised it and put it all on. So it's going to be in VR chat. It's not permanent. Um, they decided to work in collaboration with 40 volunteer developers as well. So yeah, AIXR. So that's Daniel Coletti, who is chief executive, and the event planner Rachel Knight. There's that lady there, right? Okay. Yeah, we all know about the winners. Okay. Oh, here we are. Oh, right. This is a bit worrying. It looks like tonight, Sunday, November 22nd, maybe. You may only have a few hours to get there if you want to see this. It looks like it closes at midnight British time. So you've got, what, 3 hours left to go and explore that if you want to. So if you've got VR chat to hand and want to look up, I guess you just look up VR Awards or AIXR, one or the other. But meanwhile, you can hear interview all about it at voicesofvr.com. Right, the show must go on, or rather online. How immersive performers are adapting to, well, the real world as it is now, which is the virtual world. Yeah, who knew the real world was going to be a virtual world? I didn't. Okay, noproscenium.com. I always get in a pickle with this one. NOPROSCENIUM.com. Well, we figured this is probably pronounced as in scene, so it's like noproscenium.com, but you might be better off with my spelling there, who knows. And yep, they're speaking to Telelibrary, Escherton, Long Distance Affair, Chaos Theory, and more. And looking at theatre a lot by the look of it. But yeah, new platform calls. Quite a long article here anyway. They're usually pretty good reads at No Proscenium anyway. All right, moving on. Oh, sorry, I have to speed us up, as it were. How VR will accelerate talent learning and development. This is at a site called entrepreneur.com, entrepreneur.com. And it's estimated to be a 4-minute read, which is very helpful, isn't it? Yes. Entrepreneur.com for that one. Sorry, I'm avoiding the rabbit hole. I'm speeding up here. I think, don't know if I need to. Dean Takahashi, I know that author from somewhere, but I can't remember. This is a post at venturebeat.com, venturebeat.com. And we mentioned these. Basically, the biggest growing of all the sort of what you might call virtual worlds or social environments um, during the pandemic and stuff has been Roblox. And it is actually, well, not only are they so successful, they're filing for an IPO already, and they haven't been around for more than about 6 months. They've disclosed their filing to go public on the US stock market. That was 2 days ago. They did not say how much they're raising, but they are. Um, game industry is one of the few economic sectors doing very well during the pandemic. And Game Engine maker Unity managed to raise 1.3 billion. That's a 13.6 billion valuation on September 18th, even though it's losing money. And their shares are up 60%, even though they're losing money. I love it. It's the way the markets work, isn't it? What I think is actually quite significant about this, which is in the headline there, although if you're not reading carefully, this is actually a first, not for game or whatever, but it's a user-generated platform. That means the content is generated by users. So if you think of Second Life or OpenSim and things like that, where basically they built an empty world with nothing in it and then told the users to get working. You ain't going to have fun here unless you build it yourself, mate. And of course, it does raise the issue. Somebody actually builds their own house in Second Life. They rent the land, the real estate, which is server space, off Linden Lab. But technically, if they built it all themselves and didn't just buy stuff to decorate it, they own that house, Um, Linden Lab won't let them move it off Linden Lab's planet. So you're stuck with Linden Lab, but technically you own the house, although Linden Labs own and rent the land. It's just basically they own everything, but they've got a devious way around telling you they don't.
Right.
But the whole world, and this is very much the case with Second Life and more lately with OpenSim, the whole world is built by its users. I mean, Linden Lab maintain everything, and they're very helpful, aren't they? They want subscriptions and a percentage of the economy and everything, but they are probably right here when VentureBeat say that this is the only time a virtual world which contains user-generated content has actually filed for an IPO. It does make you wonder if, as an IPO, whose rights are what and where, if you see what I mean. But that, I guess, is for the future. Its valuation in February was already 4 billion, and they've recently raised 150 million more from Anderson Horowitz. That's the CEO. Somebody who's about to become very rich by the look of it. Sorry, there he is. And Yeah, oh, they mentioned skills, which is another thing as well, planning to go public. But anyway, more about that at venturebeat.com. I've got to resist the temptation to stay on the page and talk. Right, moving on. Virtualrealityreporter.com again. Again, I'm not going to read that out for you. If you haven't figured out virtualrealityreporter.com as one word by now, you never will. Groove Science Studios makes world debut of VR concert technology. There have been several things like this recently. Um, And Artist Link is the latest addition to Soundscape VR, groundbreaking platform developed by GSS to power immersive music-based experience. Um, that picture, well, it probably is. Yeah, it's still part of SVR. That picture was used somewhere else recently for. I imagine this GSS and the what is it SVR Soundscape VR is probably linked. Um, Artist Link is probably linked to it or a kind of subsidiary. Yeah, I reckon they're all linked together um, for music. Not complaining because interoperability is something we've long gone after
Yeah.
in virtual worlds. But so it sounds like Soundscape VR are doing something similar to that in the music virtual worlds realm. Anyway, moving on. ScarGhost.com. Yep, here of the XR peak week peak up or whatever. I forgot what it's called. The one we start with. SKARREDGHOST.com. Something called 3D. Clever play on words there. THREEDY as opposed to the number 3 and then a D. 3D AI automatically converts 2D photos in 3D assets for AR. Fact is fact, isn't it? Oh, that was very boring. I'm not going to play that interview. Is it? Wait, yeah, actually, it was hard to understand in Portuguese. Actually, that was another thing. Um, he was working at Apple when they were developing AR kits, so he's got a bit of cred there. And how does it technically work? Um, Reconstructing the texture of the object by flattening it. Finding material that it looks most similar to in a database. Okay, they have a database of 10,000 possible shapes and patent pending machine learning technology that every time it's read a photo, it tries to reconstruct with it, which mixing of the present simple shapes can give a projection that is compatible with the photos provided. Oh, God. Yeah, this is a bit complex. I think you're going to have to go in there and read it. But it does appear to me to be, although the headline describes it specifically converting photos into 3D assets for AR, it sounds like anything that can convert that powerfully, as long as it has a method of saving objects and things, could be deployed another way. You could, you could take some 2D photos and create a 3D asset for augmented reality, and maybe you can save it as, OBJ or some format that would allow you to import it into OpenSim or sine wave or Vicadia, whatever. So possibly of interest there. That's at scarghost.com. Right now, talking of games, if there's one game that's been around for a long while, in fact, I've often mistaken it for predating Second Life. IMVU. Um, It is considered a game, but I think it is one of the few games around that is probably on the border of being a social virtual world. In many ways, it is like Second Life. It's got a totally different demographic. It's got more users than Second Life, but they tend to be a lot younger, and there is much less freedom of um, destiny, whatever, within the game itself. But in fact, I've seen videos posted in IMVU user accounts, which have clearly been posted in Second Life. I think there's a big crossover of users of both actually. Certainly the fashionistas as we call them in Second
Right.
Life, or
Right.
they call them are this is a natural platform for them. The big news, of course, however, though, is that I think they've always had a kind of in-world currency, but they're now going to launch VCoin early next year in January,
Hmm.
and it's an in-game currency called VCoin, but you'll be able to exchange it for real life money, and it's built on the Ethereum blockchain. So it adheres to, well, I don't know what an ERC20 standard is, but presumably it's some kind of standard. And players will be able to buy, gift, and earn VCoin in game, and then be able to transfer that outside the platform and convert it into flat money. And all this is happening in January. So if you're a user of, I didn't know any users of IMVU, but it'd be interesting to find a comment, not from IMVU CEO here, but from an actual user of IMVU to get their opinion as to whether that will make a difference to
Yeah,
their
more
virtual
so
life
than
or not.
Second Life or OpenSim, which seem to be have an older demographic. I feel like IMVU is a lot of very young people. And I think
Yeah.
I mentioned a week or two ago, just I've read a couple articles about the challenge to young girls' body images that IMVU presents.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I can imagine now. I mean, actually, arguably, I think Second Life does that too.
yeah.
As I say, I've seen videos where it's not easy to tell whether it's IMVU or Second Life, but they are more often than not full of sexualized avatars, I think
Mhm.
is probably the right expression.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, one sets off the body language and they all copy. And of course, in real life, that's actually dangerous. So if the virtual world is influencing real life, then, you know,
Or at the least
um,
a little unhealthy.
yeah,
Yeah.
unhealthy. I mean, individual. We always used to say back in the 60s and stuff, that God, I forget what the phrase was now, but we was promoting individuality. As saying sort of do your own thing.
Ah, right.
It was
Mhm.
that kind of thing. It's some of the interpretations are more complex than that, but the whole idea was the individual was empowered, and you should be proud and you know eager to be you,
Right.
do your thing, rather than subscribe to I don't know consumer society or whatever. And of course, online virtual environments are now more like the consumer society of the mainstream.
Right.
There's no, they're no longer alternative hippie
Right.
ideal.
Right. Yep.
The virtual homesteads of where it was the 80s have now been swamped by O machines and Z burgers. There you go. Well, it's not a Z burger, is he? It's a Z burger.
Okay.
And Z burgers are no machines. Yes. Right. Moving on. Moving on. I better not go into the Z burger territory today. Um, Immersive installation. Let's use it. This is at timeout.com. Timeout's a great London What's On magazine, which talking the 60s is when it started. It used to be a sort of news sheet in the underground press of the 60s, but then it became stick and glossy over a couple of decades, and now I think there's a timeout in every city in the world. This immersive installation lets you see inside an Edward Hopper painting. Well, the Edward Hopper Party is certainly American.
Right. Right.
One of the great American artists. You can't really go wrong with them. I mean, I've always liked them a lot. Along with actually, it tends to be the early pulp artists I like in America. People like Maxfield Parrish. Oh, it's probably got to be historically my favourite
Mm.
American artist, but actually nothing like Edward Hopper. So I shall stop my mind wandering. Anyway, yes, this Chelsea's Artec House will soon be able to enter an Edward Hopper-like painting and order a drink that they can bring to life via augmented reality. So I'm not quite sure. Right, these are real-world addresses. Well, um, okay. Looks a bit weird, but that might be the best illustration. Of course, this assumes that you'll be able to go into real world locations post the pandemic doesn't go away. Um, it's a hologram, it'd be a real bar with a hologram like atmosphere. And bringing a downtown bar scene to life, where we're once again facing existential fears, much like they were in the early 40s when the United States had just entered World War II. Entered, not ended. Sorry. Bars are becoming a place for solid community and conversation, but now public health is a concern. Many have been forced to close. Yeah, okay. This is mostly a real world event by the look of it. I guess this is New York and New Jersey. Tickets are 24 US dollars, and locals can save $5 a ticket. And you have to go to our Tech House NYC Monday through Friday. So yes, this is not very helpful. If you live in New York, though, that might be a fun thing to do, as long as you can do it safely,
Yeah.
without presumably you can go in a mask and stuff like that. And you can see a hologram of Edward Hopper's environment, and then you can buy a drink for yourself in real life. Yeah, well, yeah.
Yep.
Moving on, moving on. We don't have time to stay with everybody today. Uh, if they're at the bottom, if they're the more recent they are, the more further they are down the list. So all these recent ones are getting really fast. Makeover here. Okay, this is TechCrunch.com. Very short article there. It's all on screen, actually, nothing to scroll. Oh, well, actually, sorry, I'll tell a lie. There's a video then, there's more, right? Okay, somebody called Transfer, or you can see how it's spelled there. They've raised 12 million US dollars Series A funding to bring virtual reality to manufacturing plant floors. And oh yeah, well, we haven't got time to play any of this video, and it is a bit sobery sort of video, to put it more than anything. But yeah, again, this is enterprise VR. They're aiming to make money by charging software as a service licensing fees to companies, which can go up to $10,000 depending on the size of the workforce. Their core technology is software. Hardware-wise, the business uses, oh dear, look what they use. It's an O machine. Gosh, better not say much about them then. Not the generic customer hardware available in stores. So it's an O machine for business, apparently. God help us. Right. Okay, and then you can get a drink. So it's got to do with the factory floor. Yeah, read all about it, as they say in the newspaper. And read all about it
Yep.
at techcrunch.com. Sorry, TECHCRUNCH.com. Oh dear, something in the old croaking. Right, moving on. We're nearly there. Forbes.com. Right, this is Charlie Fink's actual weekly blog, as opposed to the video. And roundup of stories is finished. And 6:30 a.m. Yes. Well, this is somewhere in the last 24 hours. This was posted, I think. 6:30 in the morning Eastern time today. I guess that must be. Okay, more about, well, you've covered that in his video program, of course. Robox filing for their IPO. Hypersense develops real-time facial expressions tracking technology to light up the creation of live. Right, this is motion. Well, it's facial expression technology for avatars, basically. I don't think it's full body. But I think this is actually related to like there are a few plugins for Zoom and things like this that take your webcam picture and cartoonize it, and then follow your lips and facial expressions on your webcam and immediately map them to the avatar they created for you. So this is HYPRSENS. It's like Hypersense without the E in it. Anyway, the company Hypersense has been bought by Epic Games, so presumably they want to. Interesting. The technology will introduce potential for more dynamic Fortnite avatars to be employed by creators.
That would be the logical connection.
Again, with Epic, yeah. And yeah, of course, this is a roundup post, so as you can see, there's a load of. This is more recent than Scar Ghost Week in XR, which is the beginning of the week. This one literally is just right up to date now. Um, yeah. Um, yep. There you go. And advertising his own podcast, of course. Whereas actually, it's interesting. He doesn't say it's his. He says it's hosted by his partner Fred Schlewitz, but I guess he's being modest. Right. So that's Charlie Fink at Forbes.com, Forbes.com, and you find the links on the homepage, I guess. JVC, they're a good old company.
Oh
They
yeah,
invented the I think they were first with videotape, weren't they? They
VHS
invented
tape.
the
Yeah,
VHS. Yeah,
Japanese
yeah.
Victor Corporation. Oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and I still have several thousand of the
Of their product.
videotape of their product, which I'll
Right.
probably never load into anything again. I'm not sure even I got to work. My transports are probably dried up, let alone the
Right.
tape.
Right.
Anyway, who knows? I haven't got the heart to bin them. I made such a
Right. Right.
years and years of archiving on tape. And their tapes were I think they did the first hi-fi videotape, which was actually a great audio tape recorder
Mm-hmm. It was.
because it used the whole diagonal of the videotape cartridge to record high definition
Yeah.
sound, which
Yeah.
is
It's good.
better. I think it was even better than DAB because it was based on well, it was digital audio because the digital audio on video was NICAM, or it's called NICAM here, or near instantaneous compounded audio
Yeah.
multiplex.
Right.
I remember that, but it was a digital form. So even back when we had analog TV still, the stereo signal for sound was digital,
Yep.
or was recorded digitally. So
But
yeah,
it wasn't.
yeah.
It wasn't
Anyway,
compressed, which was the big advantage.
yeah. But it was yeah, and of course when it was part of the video, the audio was in a flat like audio cassette track underneath the diagonal video track,
Hmm.
which was their way of making sure it was synchronized. Oh, I don't know, but I've recorded quite a lot of audio on a hi-fi videotape, so there's a versatile medium for as long as it lasted. But don't talk about magnets in the same breath as videotapes.
Right. Right.
Kill a lifetime of archives with one magnet. Right. Yeah. Oppo. Um, Okay, they have an unnamed prototype capable of producing clear images without screen door effects you see through a lens-type display, less color aberration as a result, and a greater physical range of wearing positions because it's got a wide eye box. I like actually. It looks more like a helmet than glasses, but I kind of like the look of it. It's hard to tell. There's apart from the reflection on the glass, it's a bit dark to see what's going on. But nah, I think that's more of a headset, really. Shame, because the lit up part looks wearable. And there's the specs. Different beast from your average VR headset, or AR headset for that matter. And it's not an O device, that is for sure. Resolution 2560 by 1440 per eye. Uh, um, FO field of view 120 by 45, frame rate 72 or 60. 5.5-inch LCD, tracking is Steam VR, display ports and USB connections, dimensions. Okay. Read all about it, as I say. So, good old company there, revealing an Enterprise XR headset. The only thing it don't seem to have mentioned in that little roundup is any idea of what the price would be. Um, we already know what the HTC 5 um, price is, so presumably it would need to compete with that. Right, moving on. Oh dear, come on, even I'm getting tired here now.
Mm.
I should have taken a closer look at my list and edited some of these out before we started. Right, virtual reality experiences the immersive remote conference to attend in December. Right, this is on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's actually the 3 days before the Open Sim Community Conference. In fact, it's called Virtuality. It's historically taken place in France and Argentina, and obviously this year it's all going to be online. I don't know. You have to apply. That's it. You have to apply for access, although tickets to the remote conference itself are actually free. So you just simply have to apply for access. And 50 exhibitors, talks being given by industry experts. Joanna Popper again, Amy Peck, um, Elizabeth Barron of Unity, um, Dave Haynes of Vive. Um, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, panels. Lucas Risotto, Andy Fidel, Robert Scoble will be there. Tom Fisk. Lot of people. Man, but because this is virtual, they don't all have to fly over to France this year. You see,
Right.
so, you got quite a lot of American luminaries there. And in fact, well, you can get the full schedule online if you click on the link here. And here we are. I'll just uh, quickly go through to here. Paris.virtuality.io, and yeah, here are the whole load of the speakers. So you can see there's really quite a lineup of names I know and names I don't know. um, quite a few of them European too, of course. Yeah. Oh dear, far too many. I knew it was a long list, but yeah, we better. You don't want to see photos of everybody at the thing, do you? Right, let's just pop back quickly. That main post you want is at arpost.co. So it's arpost.co. And that was posted yesterday. Um, all right, if it was yesterday, I know we're nearly at the end of the list. Oh dear, Virtual HQ's race to win over a remote control fatigue market. Um, yeah, future of transportation is no transportation. That's quite a nice line, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
For virtual worlds. Basically, they win over a remote work fatigued market. They're basically coming out with the idea that the Zoom fatigue thing. People, more and more engineers are working on a gamified version of Zoom, so that it's not quite so fatigue inducing. Huddle, Branch, Gather, various platforms that are trying to launch to be part of your virtual workspaces in the future. Um, this is quite good. I'm feeling very jaded recently because there's just too much to follow here, really, to keep a grip on it all. I should be grateful that the metaverse or other virtual worlds and environments are taking off. But none of the traditional ones I think of really seem to be benefiting out of this COVID thing. It seems to be a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of the ones that are jumping in all of a sudden are the ones that are really benefiting in both sales, popularity, and everything else. And also, it's very hard to know from the way some of them behaving that, do they think this is going to last even when we got a vaccine for the plague? Or and are they taking that into account? Or do they actually are they being more pessimistic and think that we'll always be living with the virus and stuff like that? Um, in a way, the longer our problems with COVID last, the more established virtual environments will become. So it's a plus point that we have to cope with it for longer. On the other hand, if it is over soon with all the new vaccines that are showing very good results, will a lot of these new operations survive, or will we go back to the old ways, or will we stick with the new ways, or will be probably more likely sticking somewhere in between? We really don't know. So it's a major discussion as to where we're going, not only with virtual worlds, but everything associated with them. So that was another rabbit hole, I think, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because
You
I've
felt like it,
forgotten.
right?
I've forgotten. The founder tells me it's 5-bit, all in the virtual offices. Doors, he says, make a big difference. So yeah, you have to have a door in your virtual office so you can slam the door or fire you. um, people use Slack to work remotely, but you can go to a physical office and people are still using Slack. So hopefully you'll be able to go to something like this forthcoming branch and you'd be in a virtual office talking to people, but you would use Slack as a secondary channel, just like you do in real life. So yeah, um, one called Gather. I don't know who's saying this. Are set to be the largest virtual HQ platform out there. Um, that looks like a combination of I can't remember the name of the platform and Zoom at the top. This is what I call
You
they're
mean Philips?
fascinating.
Philips Hi-Fi?
No, I
Oh,
don't.
okay.
Although it has come, there's
Uh,
another one that actually does seem like a cross between Philips and
mm,
Zoom. Um, the idea is if you get bored with looking at the other person's video, you can move backwards and forwards and away from them in situ. This is obviously modelled on an office, so it's not really a walking about thing, but it also depends on audio. I mean, does the audio fade in and out to do with distance? And how does that affect the Skype component, the Zoom component? The more they add into this kind of thing, the better. Philips certainly didn't. There was one that looked like they'd taken Philips' thing and merged it with Zoom, but I don't think he knew anything about it. And he's never. He told me he didn't want to add anything into the audio hard fidelity.
okay. Yep.
That was the fixed thing that did its job and it was done, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, so Gather has been in the works for more than 18 months since Wang and his friends graduated college. Yeah, they're going to have to move quick. They may find a vaccine beats them to it. But anyway, we'll see. Interesting stuff here. So techcrunch.com is what you want for this. TECHCRUNCH.com. And the article is called Virtual HQ's Race to Win Over Remote Work Fatigue Market. And fair old bit to read there, so not to be passed on. Okay, this was just anecdotal. We're back at Vroom, VRRM.BUZZ. Never get over saying that. Right, this is. Hang on, let me flip to the web page here. Right, there's a video you can watch on this. I'm not going to do it now. We're running out of time. There we are. This is still picture. Eye of Atlantis. There you are. Right, the post here is at vroom.buzz, of course. And actually, I can't see. Basically, right, the Eye of Atlantis is going to launch for Steam VR and the O Machine on December the 8th of this year, which is not so many, couple of weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, maybe. But what is interesting about it is that although technically it's a game, it's a hybrid production company and a non-profit who are founded to explore archaeology through a multimedia lens. And they've modelled this both on ancient Greece and Myst, the VR adventure game. And it's set in a true-to-life vision of a fabled lost civilization. So the researching the work of scientists and ancient Greek philosophers in order to craft an exciting yet believable version of Atlantis. And we can't wait to launch Iliad and Odysseys soon. Traveling back in time, alternative history enthusiasts will be able to channel mythical energies and wield fantastical powers that allow them to manipulate the environment. Players learn to read the stars, decipher riddles, and join forces with natives, etc., etc. So it's very much it's an archaeological exercise, basically, with a bit of alternative history because to fill in what they don't know, and a sort of challenge-based sort of gaming environment. It's not a shoot 'em up game or anything. The gameplay is solving challenging puzzles and stuff. And so, when they say it's ancient Greece and mixed together. I thought that sounded kind of cool. So
I can see that.
hence I
Yep.
thought Yeah, so hence I thought, right, we'll give you that one. Right, two more to go. We're near there. Bottom of the list. These are probably today's. This is techrepublic.com. techrepublic.com. How virtual reality and mixed reality are becoming important in the future of work. Do you get to the end of the week and feel like I've said it all before all
Mm-hmm.
week?
Mm-hmm.
There's a it's just words. So many of these posts are very much talking about the same thing in theory, but different things in practice because so much is going on. Tech Republic here. I actually spoke with Carl Jackson, who's the founder of a company called Tailspin. They're a software company that specializes in immersive technology. And again, they're looking at how businesses are using these new technologies in the pandemic and into the future. And this is actually an edited transcript of a conversation, which leads me to think that if I search hard enough, I might actually find a audio or video version of the same conversation. So you'll find that at techrepublic.com. And finally, we're back on the serious side of things again, this time medicine. We're back at vrscout.com. And 5 ways virtual reality is being used in modern healthcare. And it's quite literally listing this. They've taken the idea and they listed 5 ways it's being used: detecting vision problems, helping mental injury recovery, and well, we're helping people through rehab and augmented reality records and prepping for surgery. So just some little examples there. So that's it for all my links, and we had our little pictures at the beginning. I had a vague. No, I think that's it. Oh no, I know what we haven't got. I deliberately kept it at the end, and it's right at the top. Okay. Um, Throughout the week, whenever I find a nice picture on one of the blogs or in the news feeds and it comes from Flickr, I go to Flickr and I favorite it. So I've got a sort of list of my favorites throughout the week. So I'm going to be clicking on those for a minute. But meantime, that's it for the links. So while I put some pictures on our screen,
Oh.
James, any thoughts about all the all the
Oh,
the all
my
sorts?
my poor brain is full.
Well, yeah, it's mine. I can't even remember
I
what I've
know.
thought about over the course of however many things it was.
So no particular thoughts about a topic area because it's all pretty amazing stuff, honestly. But something novel today. It looks to me like there are one or two viewers on the YouTube channel watching live, and I
Oh,
I don't know if that's real or not because I'm a little dubious of YouTube today. But if so,
I
thank you,
never
viewers.
understand it because
Yeah,
I get different reports from wherever.
yeah.
I've at top it says concurrent viewers 3.
Mhm.
The lower thing just changed from 3 to 0.
Okay. Yep.
Playback's 3. Average watch time is 1 hour 52 minutes. Uh, But I can't kind of make
Right.
head or tail of that. It looks to me, and again, if it says 3 concurrent viewers, that's me and your 2 cameras.
No,
If you see what I mean.
no, not on YouTube.
Oh,
Because,
okay,
yep, it'd just be
okay,
me and you at the most, right?
yeah,
So
okay. Oh,
maybe
it's still
one viewer,
changing.
right?
Concurrent viewers has just gone up to 4.
Oh, okay, all
Well,
right.
hello, folks. Those of you watching us live,
All right,
you've made our day because we tend to rely on playback throughout the week at YouTube. We very rarely get anybody live coming in here. If you want to join us live, by the way,
oh yeah,
um,
in
you can.
chat, reply from someone. Tim King is the name. I am
Oh,
not a robot.
glad
Regular
to hear
listener and
that.
virtual world fan. Thank you, Tim.
Very well, very good, Tim. Yes, well, good to see you. I've been thinking of actually telling people that we could actually post the address here in Sansar
Right.
so that people could come in the audience, and if they really had any questions or wanted to, we could add them into a Discord call in the later part of a program or something if people really wanted. It's more logistics though, so But it's a nice thought that we've got the room and we've got the seats here and
Right.
everything. So yeah, let us know one way or another if you actually want to be here live. Bear in mind that this is actually a news program, so we're really just delivering news. But as you know, we opinionate a little bit, or rather, I do.
A
Not
little
too
bit.
much, in fact. A little bit, yeah, quite. Maybe you could come here and tame me. You see, if you're in
Right,
the
right.
audience, you could butt in to stop me rabbit holing or
Yeah,
opinionating.
better than I.
Oh dear, the more the merrier. Okay. Well, average watch. Oh, that's the average watch time rather than 1:20. I don't even know how long we've been on air actually. Okay, right. So yeah, nice picture of a lighthouse here. I love the water in this. It's sort of transfer. All these are actually other people's regions. Many of them in Second Life. But when I'm favoriting, I kind of choose these things because for those of you who don't know, on my regular, my own um, uh, Flickr pages are pictures that I took in the Metaworld grid, which is like a big 25 region size sort of OAR thing, which is not online at the moment. But I keep choosing pictures that I can imagine were taken on my own grid, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
Like scenes that I didn't make that could easily blend in with scenes I have made, which are actually in the other photo collection. Um, anyway, it's just I just do like landscapes, things without avatars in them, just nice pictures that you can imagine of otherworldly places. And I'm just clicking through them very quickly here, as you can obviously see. These are all ones I've picked up in the last week or so. So it gives you a flavour of what you're missing if you're not there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's another nice one. And yeah, if I actually go up, um, photo stream, let me move up here. Yeah, here we are. These ones are my own photographs from the Metaworld region. So, oops. They're not as good, are they? The whole idea is, these are ones I've taken
Yeah.
in my regions, but the ones I choose as favourites are the ones that I feel could almost be in the same world.
Hmm.
Although the more I'm looking at these are my own, mine aren't very
Oh, and
good,
the world has
really.
changed. You have to let
Yeah,
yourself realize that the technology is always changing.
yeah, and I did do all this. I built all this stuff in the air. I just
Right.
dumped sculpted mesh landscape and stuff down, and then I went down to earth and wandered around it and built into it, which is not necessarily the way to do it. But yeah, but as I say, it's much more fun to go to the faves and look at
Yep.
what other people have done for the week.
It
And that
I think it reflects the T-shirt well that I wore today. That we dream for a living.
dream for a living,
Yeah.
indeed. Yes, that's where it's at. That's
Yeah.
where it's at.
It's exciting.
Okay, so I've got 21. Oh, we would have been a bit late start. Have we been on for 2 hours about?
2 hours and 23 minutes and 17 seconds.
So we're over the 2 hours. Never mind, never mind. It could have been worse. It feels like it was.
Indeed. Yeah.
It feels like it was hideously long. Like my brain has gone a bit fading out on me.
Turn to jelly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And that normally kicks in after about 90 minutes or so. But for some reason, it just feels like it's been a really long show as opposed to just a long show.
Yep.
But long enough, I guess. So we better leave them to it. Anything else, James? Or that's it for you?
No, that's
All
fine.
your
That's it
thoughts.
for me. Yep. Oh, other than
All right.
just Open Simulator conference in 2 weeks, and the schedule is posted now.
Oh yeah.
So um,
Oh
take a
right.
go take a look, and anybody who has a session, look at the schedule and see if we got it right.
Sure. So that's conference.opensimulator.org.
Yes.
That's right. And then you just click on agenda, I believe. Okay. Yeah, I've got one now. Okay, sorry, the one I've got is the Google. sheet. I had better not advertise that one. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is good. That is bloody imminent. And of course, I'm leaving everything to the last minute to confirm and mix and match and stuff like that. Anyway. Um, right. Well, we will be back here next week for sure. Um, for the next 2 weeks, in fact, and then the conference weekend, we will probably pass on news, but who knows? Yeah, we'll be back same time, same place next week. In the meantime, it doesn't really matter whether it's MR or XR or VR or AR or even MXR. At the end of the day, however,
We
we
are.
are. Yeah. Oh, that rhymes too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. Sound like a what do I call them? Yeah, never mind. Deb. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Stop being silly. He tells himself. Everybody, keep safe, and we will see you in a week's time. Bye for now.